We need to make like a new extra theme tune to go like powering on, tick 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 tick, Zoom's
solving
recording
audio issues for
audio
minutes on end.
One of 57.
Yeah, please stand by.
Estimated time remaining 34 minutes. Oh man.
Interesting things said by uninteresting people. Show hosted by Ben and Tom. Interesting things said by uninteresting people.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Interesting Things Said by Uninteresting People, a podcast where we talk about interesting things so that you don't have to. My name's Ben, and as always, I am joined by the bright New Year-faced half of the podcast, Tom. How are you, buddy?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you, Ben?
I'm really good, mate. You know what? I'm feeling chill. I'm feeling good for 2021. I am ready to go. I'm raring to go.
Chipper.
Yeah, in a word.
2021 cannot be. Well, we don't know, and I don't want to jinx it.
Don't say it, mate.
I'm going to say it. It can't be worse because the vaccines are out now.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know how many international listeners we've got, or maybe all of our
few, Ben.
Very few. All of our UK listeners will be in the country where the vaccines are rolling out. That's got to be good news, right?
Yeah, my girlfriend Callie has had her vaccine.
Fantastic.
Which is mad.
Can she report back on what it's like to be hooked up Lawnmower Man style to the 5G?
Yeah, well, now that she has got 5G, she has turned into a bit of a government stooge.
Oh, fine, okay.
She keeps like flying a Boris flag out the window and keeps telling me to get the vaccination as soon as possible to join the ranks. It's
like, mate, what I'm picturing is like one of these scam sex chats where it's like all they want to tell you to do is, hey honey, why don't you send me some money? It's like Callie, what do you want to do? Hey Tom, have you had the vaccine yet?
Yeah, get the vaccine. What do you want to watch TV? The vaccine.
You should really get that vaccine. Yeah. Kicking down the door.
We can be happy again.
Stay alert, save lives.
She keeps repeating that.
Just me and you and everyone else.
She needs to go on charge now instead of going to bed. But,
dude, I'm hopefully I should be vaccinated soon as well.
Oh yeah, you frontline staff.
Primary care worker, aren't I?
Primary care worker. Mate, I'm never getting mine.
Really?
He works at home anyway. He is not having one.
What's the point? What is the point? These bloody YouTubers.
Yeah, wasting our precious vaccine on those hipster twats.
I know, right? Well, dude, what's quite nice? I mean, I don't know if this is interesting to anyone, and I am not a doctor, but what I heard is that the new data is suggesting that the Pfizer vaccine, when you know how you have your two shots, apparently the first shot has like a 90% chance of giving you immunity. So, I mean, there's an argument to like, I know we've got more doses now, but if say you got 400,000 doses, and they say that's enough for 200,000 people to have two, it's like, is it the better plan to give 400,000 people a 90% chance of immunity?
Yeah.
Rather than the extra 5% in 200,000? I don't know. I'm sure there's better minds than us.
It's another tricky question about COVID I don't have the answer to.
No, Tom, we are entirely qualified. This is where people come for their medical news and their guidance.
That's literally it. But no, I don't know, man. Like, I don't I don't envy any world leader that has to make those sorts of choices, because what if it's the wrong choice?
Yeah, that's fair enough, dude.
And now we've wasted all these. Like, oh shit.
Let's have a happy thought. How are you feeling about 2021? Like, what are you? Do you do resolutions, or do you do? I think I've asked you that probably a year ago.
I don't really do. I've never done resolutions. It's not because I don't ever have any. It's just I don't need. It's going to sound all high and mighty, but I don't need a new year to start something new. Like, if I want to do something, I can just do it. But if push came to shove, my New Year's resolution would be to try and read more, which has probably always been my every year. Like, I should read more. Sure. And I never do, and I still haven't this year.
Well, that's fine. I think that's a noble goal, mate. I mean, do you know what? I of the last couple of years, I have done. We don't actually get too deep dive into this, mate. But the last couple of years, I've done like a past year review instead.
Right.
Without, again, this sounds really fucking pretentious, but I feel like it works for me. So I will tell you what I do.
Go for it.
Because I keep a journal.
Yeah.
I think maybe we've talked about this before. So I literally have a little document where every day, well, yeah, maybe I'll catch up every couple of days or whatever, but normally most days I'll pop in stuff that I'm glad happened, stuff that I'm not glad happened, and stuff that just happened, you know.
Right.
And the idea is at the end of the year you look back and you're supposed to look in the column of things that you're glad happened and go, okay, I see there's a pattern here, you know. For me, literally, I mean, for them, obviously with 2020 having lockdowns and things that maybe it's a bit skewed, but I noticed there's lots of things that I was glad I did that involved building things or making things or working with my hands, you know, which I don't do as part of my job. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should be seeing that as a pattern. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe this year I can try and actively do more of that, you know?
Yeah, sure.
I haven't built anything that I would in a fair while. So I was like, I should really make a stool or something. So it's stuff like that.
Stool.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So, mate, yeah. So it's like I suppose it's not so much a resolution as like a vague trying to. Yeah, I should try and do more like that.
That sounds good. So I knew you kept a journal, but I didn't realise you had like the column scenario. That's good data to look at. You know, on a geeky sense, just to look at the good stuff and go, actually, you know, if I can make more of my life about that, I'll actually have more good days than bad days.
You know, mate. The flip side of it is that you look at the bad column as well. And you go, right, so this year, less of that. You know, and it might just be silly stuff like, I spent 3 hours trying to sort this out on the computer or whatever it was. You go, well, I want to set myself up to not have to do those things this year.
3 hours on your printer like last time.
Don't, dude. I'm still having flashbacks about that. Jesus wept, man.
Big flashbacks.
I never want to talk about that again. Never again. But yeah, but otherwise, I think we're going to have a good year, aren't we, mate? I think.
Yeah, like I said, the vaccine's out. Can't be any worse than last time. You know, let's do it.
We're kind of used to it this time, aren't we? I suppose.
Yeah, everyone's kind of set up to or know what to expect at least.
Well, mate, speaking of comparing, you know, how this year's going to go to last year, we decided, I'm speaking to the listeners now, that it might be a good idea to go over some of the best interesting things that we talked about in 2020 and have a good old catch up. I think 2020 was our most prolific year to date. I dread to think how many years we've been doing this. On the podcast, yeah.
Oh, right,
I think it was our most productive year.
It was.
So there's a fair few things, mate, that we could maybe check in on. There's a few maybe new things just to touch on. You know, it'd be nice to talk about first. But
have you got a list? I hope you've got a list because I don't.
I've got a list here. Well, I'll tell you what. Should we just go down? Should we just go down the list right here?
Let's do the list.
Item number 1, mate. Fucking robots can dance now.
Oh yeah,
and that is literally what it says on the list.
Yeah. So this was the Boston Dynamics. Was it end of the year sort of sinister video to make us not feel particularly safe? That's kind of what it felt like. Do you think sinister flex that they can now beat you at dancing as well as killing.
Dude, do you think that's what it is? They're trying to take our mind off the virus? Because, like, look, guys, you have not got a thing to worry about COVID. What you need to worry about is a Macarena-ing death bomb.
Yeah, too right. And then they might as well put at the end of the video, by the way, robots can't get viruses like you can. Although I guess they sort of could, couldn't they?
And he's brought his dog.
Yeah, he's brought his dog, which will live forever, unlike your dogs.
You know how you're trying to pick up that girl on the dance floor? Well, good luck with that anymore.
Yeah.
We're going to take that from you as well.
I was never good at that anyway. It wouldn't take much.
Oh, man. Dude, people should check it out. It's funny. Cool. It's funny in like the comments section how many people are going, oh, CGI, or your CGI looks a bit wonky. Why? And I'm like, that's so off-brand for Boston Dynamics. Like, there's no way they would ever release a CGI video of faked up of what their robots can do.
No, unless it was that Corridor Crew did one, didn't they?
Exactly.
Kind of
yeah. Yeah.
I might actually had enough.
I might link that back in the description as well in case anyone hasn't seen that
one.
Because that was, if we're talking of good things from 2020, was that 2020? Maybe. Yeah,
it would have been the start of 2020, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because that was brilliant. So yeah, man, there's nothing to fear from robots or technology anymore, or Callie, by the way. It's all coming together, mate. But the vaccinated and the robots teaming up. Oh my god,
the vaccinated and the unvaccinated.
Yeah.
That's what the world will turn into.
And the unvaccinatable. Oh, by the way, needles don't penetrate on metal hide. You can't even get us like that. Mate, right. Ben's predictions, when they make those fucking things start talking, that's going to be when the terror meter just goes through the roof.
Oh, definitely.
Hi there. Oh man, the collaboration with Google. What do they call it in the end? That thing that was ordering table was over the phone.
Oh,
that was a robot. Duplex, yeah. Duplex bot. That's what it would be like. Mate, all it would take is a Google Nest, like a Google Home Mini for a head. My God.
Oh my God. Or two larger eyes on the overall head.
I'm picturing it now, to be honest.
On its like really good-looking head. This is
going to be a niche joke, but even like the 4 little lights in the speaker suddenly start flashing red in the eyes. Oh man, dude, we can't keep making jokes about Boston, but that was an amazing little flourish at the end of 2020.
That is a great video.
I'm stoked for him.
If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Give you a smile.
Dude, did you watch either The Midnight Sky or Death to 2020?
No, I haven't, but Death to 2020 is on my list.
Dude, it's funny, man. I would certainly recommend it. Awesome. I mean, there's not really like a spoilery thing to it, but Death to 2020 is very, very funny.
Awesome. It does look great. I watched the trailer a few times.
It's to be honest, a lot of the humor in it just comes from remembering how fucking balls to the wall crazy 2020 was. Yeah. Because it really was. And you forget lots of little things that happened last year.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'll definitely watch it then.
And if you do, not to nip along with the new things, but if you haven't seen it, The Midnight Sky, that George Clooney movie,
okay,
that's worth a look. We watched it on a random whim. I heard nothing about it. I don't know how it was promoted, other than Netflix just going, Ben, watch this next. But George Clooney directed it. He's in it. It's a small cast sci-fi.
Right.
It's basically the world has gone to crap for some reason that we don't ever need to find out or have to find out. George Clooney is the last man alive for all intents and purposes in an Arctic research station, but he's trying to communicate with a spaceship that's returning from a years and years long journey to tell them to turn around basically and not bother landing because there's nothing but death. Bother. Well, yeah, because there's nothing but death for them if they land. And it's kind of two stories. Like you get the story of him with the little girl that he finds trying to survive on Earth, and you get the story of what's going on in the spaceship as it's traveling back to Earth. But cool. Just I thought I'd just slip in a brief little recommendation if you're looking for something to watch. Yeah, pre-body episode Ben's Rex, which is a rare one. But Midnight Sky, The Midnight Sky is worth having a look at.
Excellent,
but dude. With all that said, are you ready to take a deep dive into 2020?
Let's do it. Let's do the deep dive.
I think the first thing on the list literally just says, back into quarantine. Are we better at it now?
We're for those outside of the UK, which is obviously a very small number. We are back in lockdown 3, return or revenge, as we like to call it. Lockdown 3,
Search
revenge.
for Spock.
Search for Spock. Lockdown 3. It felt. Do you know what? It felt like Lockdown 2. Was definitely so Lockdown 1 was like really full on and really, the first lockdown. Maybe first of its kind. It was very serious. Lockdown 2 felt very like wishy-washy. Not much of a plot line.
Still go to work. Yeah,
lots of tears, lots of and ahs and that sort of stuff. But Lockdown 3 seems to be back with like a vengeance.
Yeah,
It's like everyone stay at home, don't go out, all the shops are shut once again.
Ooh, schools are closed again.
Yeah, it's back to the first edition of lockdown, isn't it?
What made the first one great? They've revisited the same themes again. Yeah,
they've gone over the same formula. They've made a subtle change, and we're back
to the classic.
But to answer your question, go on. Sorry,
all I was going to say was, do you? I know we're not medical experts here, but do you think it's the right thing to do? I mean, what are you thinking about it? Like,
do you know? I really, really don't know, and I've thought about it a lot because I'm sure everybody thinks about it a lot. But I think I don't know as much as the science people that are informing the government. And despite not particularly being a massive fan of our government, I guess, I'm happy they're taking the scientist advice and doing what they say, basically.
Yeah, sure.
I'm glad it's not a situation like, okay, let's go there. I'm glad it's not a situation like America, like Trump is organising these big meetings, to march on certain things. It's like, wow, that's a big super spreader event. That's at least we're not doing that. That's what I think.
I suppose, no, it could be worse. You're right, man. You're right.
But it's frustrating, mate, because I feel like, personally, I feel quite safe around it. So I wouldn't, if someone said to me, Tom, you've got to go to London for 4 days and you've got to walk around everywhere and do all this, I probably wouldn't be that fazed by it.
Okay, fair enough.
I wouldn't be like, oh no, it's going to get me. I would obviously still wear a mask and wash my hands and that sort of thing, but it wouldn't like keep me up at night, sort of thing.
No, sure.
How about you though? I tend to fall down on different sides of it every other day, so I never really know.
I think that's fair, mate. And that in itself, I think, is a fair point to make, because we're not, like you say, we're not experts. We're relying on being told information that changes day to day. I think we're allowed to change our minds about it day to day, and how you feel about it to change day to day.
That's definitely how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think it's wrong. I think, not to get too diverted here, but I think with the way that society is at the minute, maybe. Not to try and make too grand a point about this, but we're so encouraged to stick to your guns. You have a side, you have an opinion, you better fight it, But mate, no one fucking knows what they're doing about this. I mean, as far as the lockdown goes, honestly, I was kind of, I don't want to say glad, it seems like the wrong word to use, but
relieved.
Maybe, because what it feels like to me is that we had, I mean, obviously they're adding tiers like there's no tomorrow, all of a sudden tier 3 isn't bad enough, so we need tier 4. It did start to smell a little bit like the government just didn't want to say back into lockdown. So we'll do tier 4.
I agree.
Or we'll do tier 5 maybe. Because they just, and I really wish we could drop the politics in it for a bit and just be like, look, guys, we know we said this, but things have changed. We need to lock you all down. And I mean, I do have my criticisms of how it's been handled. That there seems to be a lag between what we're being told we should do and when it actually happens, which is rough. But man, so I don't want to say I'm glad that we're locked down, but at the same time, it feels like it's the right thing to be doing, especially with the vaccines being rolled out. I mean, dude, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to people saying, I would almost be happy if they said, right, everyone, the end's in sight. The vaccines are on the way. We reckon we'll have you all vaccinated by the end of March. So we're going to lock you down from the middle of January until the end of March. We know it's the final push, so to speak. So businesses will give you everything you need because there's a cap on it. We know when it's going to end.
Sure.
We don't have to reserve anything. We could just go all out for the last push and go. We're going to, but if we lock you in your homes, if we lock you away, then the vaccine rollout will be much more effective, easier to do. It'll be more effective to have a vaccine because there'll be a drop in numbers, in theory, with combined with the lockdown. So, mate, I'm glad that we're doing it because it feels like it feels right, basically.
Yeah. No, yeah, fair. I would rather they lock us down than didn't. If it is going to help, then let's do it.
Yeah. And we're kind of, I mean, I know it seems a bit sort of jokey to say, we're getting better at lockdown, but I think we are, mate. I think going into the third one, we're all like, right, we know what the score is now. Because maybe it's because in the first days of the first lockdown, we had that kind of initial scared, knee-jerk, shit, we better all buy toilet paper. We don't know what this is going to mean. We don't know what this is going to be like. We better get all the pasta in case we can't buy food. But then after a couple of weeks, you're like, oh, actually, this is manageable. We've got Zoom and we've got whatever.
Exactly. I mean, the panic buying is probably my most hated thing about it, because when Boris did announce that our current lockdown, me and Callie just so happened to need to go shopping that night. We go on Monday nights now, and which, by the way, is a fantastic time to go. Monday night, it's usually
Tom's
dead.
Rex.
Yeah, Tom's Rex. It is always dead. But when we went there, people were already panic buying. There was
Really?
empty shelves. I was just like, fuck's sake. What the thing is about panic buying is that I don't get is it is still going to run out.
Yeah.
You're just prolonging. I don't know. It just annoys me because if it doesn't make any sense. Those things are staying open. Tesco isn't going to run out of food.
It's such a powerful instinct to overcome, though, isn't it? It's you've got the instinct to, I need to feed myself and my family, and then you've got your hive mind, society community instinct, which goes, well, actually, if we all do the right thing, we'll all be fine.
Yeah,
it's a difficult, it is a difficult thing, an impulse to avoid, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you know what I find really weird? I don't know if you feel the same, but I almost look back on that first, month. Let's say April. So we've been in quarantine for a couple of weeks, and then we're in April. I almost look back on that fondly because the sun was out. I know. I just want to be very clear to recognise that. But my wife and I are quite lucky in that she was getting paid being a teacher, and we're getting paid from the NHS to keep us afloat. So I know we didn't have the same money pressure that a lot of other people did. So I don't want to be callous about that. But it's that kind of. Seems like that kind of golden age now where everything was nice. We were all pulling together. Does that sound weird, or does that sound like a lunatic?
No, mate, not at all. Because when it did first hit, we were lucky in England just to have that spell of incredible weather, and because there were no cars on the roads and there was nobody out and about. Me and Sam started skating again in car parks. I haven't done that in years, so it did feel like a weird little golden age.
It's like the dolphins coming back to the canals, mate.
Yeah, man.
Sam and Tom have come back to the car parks.
Yeah, it literally was, and for a period of time, it was really nice, mate. It's like you can't really compare the two, but it reminds me of do you remember when Pokemon Go came out?
Yes.
And there was that 2-week period where everybody, man, woman, child, regardless of age, was out checking Pokemon at all these stops. Lots of people around.
Yeah.
Battery bank sales were through the roof.
I know, right?
People were loving it. Everyone was nice about it either. There was no dickheads.
Yeah. Dude,
so that reminds me of that.
Isn't that funny though, man? Like you look back on things that we've enjoyed, and it's where people have come together.
Yeah.
And gone, you know what, we can probably have a decent time if we just be around each other, do something together, and be nice to each other. Yeah, I'm starting to sound like I'm getting on my soapbox here and all philosophical, but it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, of course, the minute that stops, we'll go back to being knobheads to each other.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you know what I do particularly miss about the start of lockdown? Some great Netflix.
Some great... Oh, mate, yeah.
Now, you can't forget Tiger King.
No.
Unless you're in one of the minimal slice of people who just really didn't enjoy it. I think like most normal, clear-headed, normal people, Tiger King was fantastic.
Yeah, mate, I remember being blown away at how good it was.
Has there been anything good on a documentary
Nothing
series?
like that.
What was that? There was one about Michael Jordan's career.
Oh,
which I haven't watched.
Or something.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's
I haven't watched that either, to be fair.
So why would you when we've had one fantastic documentary series already?
Yeah.
But what,
literally,
like the question says in our little list, why hasn't Carole Baskin gone to jail?
Yeah, that's the big question. Well, when we did talk about this earlier in the year, you asked me if I think she's guilty, and I said I wasn't sure. But you're pretty convinced, aren't you?
I was. I guess. I don't know. I guess because I haven't thought about it in a while, I was pretty sure. But at the same time, I do sort of feel like if she had done it, then you can't just put that. You can't just put out a documentary like that and her completely get away with it.
No.
I actually read an interview with her that was done back in December, so not too long ago, I should say. And it's obvious that the interview is trying to put her across in a certain positive light.
I'm sure.
Where she's saying, the interview is saying how she was not duped into doing the documentary, but where they said, look, this documentary is going to expose the cruelty to wild cats in America. And she was like, great, I'm on board.
Yeah, of course.
She's talking about, she's laughing off the idea that she was, that she killed her husband, saying, I was never a suspect. I was never a person of interest. I don't know what to tell you. It's just, and she the way she tells it was a shame that the relationship. She goes, I've never spoken to Joe Exotic. I've seen him maybe 4 times, and 2 of those were in court. Yeah, she's saying it's a shame that the show kind of tried to make that a thing, which in her eyes, she says it never was a thing.
Yeah, they're very much painted as like against each other, aren't they? Like he said this, she said that. We hate each other's guts. Yeah.
I mean, look, whether Carole Baskin killed her husband or not, mate, you can't. I mean, the fact you can put together, what was it, 7 episodes?
Yes,
and have
7
and have no idea from episode to episode where the next one was going.
Mate, that was the best bit about Tiger King, because the first episode I remember being quite tame. It's just about this guy that has lots of tigers, and it's a bit messed up.
Yeah, bit kooky.
Second episode rolls around, things get progressively more strange, more weird, more off the hook. Things start becoming unhinged, and it just gets worse and worse. And better.
I might have said this at the time, but it's like we were watching the second episode, and I think I literally said, I don't know how they can carry this on for 5 more episodes.
How wrong you were.
I know.
I remember saying to Callie at the time, I was like, I think we watched the 3rd episode or something, and she's like, what do you want to do? Because it wasn't that late. I was like, well, we've got to watch the next one. What do you mean? What do you mean what we were going to do?
What do you mean what I
get
mean?
the next one on. But I remember it really fondly because I was still teaching at the time and schools hadn't shut, so I was still going to work. And I remember it was, because obviously I was teaching a media class, it was a big topic.
Sure.
A lot of people talking about it. It was nice to have. I haven't had that same buzz since like Endgame.
Yeah,
everyone talking about it, everyone like looking up clips on YouTube. Oh, look at this bit, look at that. She did do this, she didn't do that. It was great. And for the few students that hadn't seen it, I was like, you've got to watch it.
Mate, again, I'm not trying to tie everything back to feeling nostalgic about the early days of lockdown, but doesn't that feel like the old days? The old days where you'd be like, oh, everyone's watching this comedy series that's on. Have you watched it? Yeah. Watching it again this week? Yeah. I mean, I know you still get that with like Game of Thrones when that was on and what have you, but it just felt good to, again, just whatever it is, to be united in media. Be like, oh, have you watched this?
Yeah. No, you're right. It like you said, it brought everyone together, especially in that classroom. Everyone was just loving it. It dominated the class conversation for ages.
And mate, like I say, genuinely, all joking aside, solid bit of documentary making.
Oh my god!
If you can structure that narrative over that many episodes and make it each one as compelling as the last, that's good documentary making. Also, whatever you think of the content.
Thinking back to it, I actually remember the very start. The documentary filmmaker says, he's got like a little monologue, and he's just like, I've never been so enthralled, enraptured by these people and everything that happened. I started this documentary for these reasons, but it quickly turned into something completely different.
Yeah.
I remember that being really specifically now.
Oh man, it all makes more sense
Craziness.
now. But dude, apparently a lot of them have been arrested. I mean, Joe Exotic is obviously in jail. The guru guy, what's his name? Bhagavan. What was the name he went by?
The strange shaman guy or whatever.
The guy with his harem. Yeah. He's lost his big cat license and I think has been investigated. The 2 guys who screwed Joe Exotic out of his zoo, they've lost their big cat license, and I think they've had to sell up. And didn't Carole Baskin buy that zoo? I think she might have absorbed it.
Yeah, something like that. But it wasn't one of them taking like baby tigers around in suitcases to Las Vegas and stuff. Yeah, that's messed up.
And to be fair, like at the end of this interview with Carole Baskin, she's saying, look, now that I got my foot in the door with because her phone was ringing off the hook. She had loads of abuse. She kind of says she shrugged it off, but she's like, now that people know who I am and know what's going on, now we're going to talk about the cats. Because this is still an important thing, she says. So
yeah, definitely.
As I say, I don't know, mate. I don't know really where I fall on it, but hey,
there you
glad
go.
to see she's making a go of the shot she's been given.
Definitely.
Dude, I know we touched on games a little bit with the old Pokemon Go, but in a similar kind of vein, another, some would say, lifesaver from the start of 2020 original quarantine was Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Now,
big time.
I haven't played it still.
Yeah.
I know you have.
I have. Well,
are you still playing it?
Funnily enough, I was actually talking to someone else about this today. And no, I actually sold my Nintendo Switch Lite, so we just have the main Nintendo Switch on the TV. Callie's still got it. I actually bought it digitally, which was stupid because I couldn't sell it. Can't sell it on now.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the start, I think it offered such a... People were hyped for it anyway. Animal Crossing is a big game for Nintendo. It's one of the big IPs. Like that, when that comes out, everyone's jazzed about it anyway. But because it was... design a perfect life on a little island, which is something probably like a big wish fulfillment for a lot of people in quarantine. I think that had an effect. And also the hype around it. The hype was huge around Animal Crossing, but I don't think many people play it anymore. I know Sam and Rachel next door have pretty much stopped playing it. I think they log on very occasionally.
Yeah.
Callie stopped playing it completely. But the thing is, and I think I've played previous Animal Crossings, not all of them, but some of them. And I think once you realise that it's actually quite a strange game because there is no goal.
Sure.
There is no end game as such. You build the island you want and you make the residents happy, and then you keep collecting stuff and keep building stuff. In it, almost similar to Minecraft.
Well, it's just the grind,
kind of endless.
I guess. The grind phase of games.
It is. It doesn't offer you anything, really specific. It's more of like if you, into collecting or into grinding, then it's great. And I think it's one of those games that would probably work really well as an app where you could just check it for 10 minutes and then jump out, which is what I'm sure some people do.
I mean, is it the certain meditative quality to it as well?
Yeah, I think. Go on.
Sorry, no, I was going to say, even if it's sorry, there you go. Even if it's just the repetitive, if it's like a simple repetitive thing that doesn't really go anywhere, it's almost like a mantra. It's like a little rhythm you can get into.
Yeah, definitely. I think it, like I said, people checking it once a day or something like that. It does become, it just works into a routine because you generally do have routine things you need to do on it. It's like, I need to check this and talk to that person, and I need to continue making my cafe. And then I need to,
sure.
I need to go and see Tom Nook and pay off my house and that sort of thing. But it is a strange game because there is no, you make your house continually bigger until it's basically a mansion.
Yeah.
But it's like, you make your own game out of it, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But I don't think people. Well, do you know what? I actually follow the Animal Crossing topic on Twitter.
I see.
And just to see what some people make because it's incredible.
Some
people make the most amazing things, but someone made like a spaceship dance floor sort of thing. I was like, wow, brilliant. That's amazing. But why? People don't dance on it. You know what I mean? That's what I was talking to someone about earlier. I was like, I made a cafe, like a really big one. And at the time I was like, oh, this is going to be great. But they don't use it. You can't see them empty. Drinking and you don't make money from said cafe or anything like that. So like the progression on it is just strange, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's, more like an art piece. It's still a good game. Well, dude, maybe it's the game that relies on you needing it at the time.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Like maybe it'll come out again, or there'll be some other game that will come out in this lockdown. Not to go back to talk about lockdown, really, but maybe it's the fact that we're in a UK only lockdown now as well.
Yeah,
that makes it feel less dramatic, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
you're probably right. But no, I don't think people have stopped playing it completely. But I think for the people that were in it for the hype have definitely broken off now. I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair enough. I mean, dude, not that I'm trying to swing together topics here.
No.
But talking of chopping down trees and planting trees, we should touch on what ex patron saint of the podcast, Elon Musk, is up to now.
Mate, I didn't see this, so you're going to have to explain it.
Well, basically, okay, so he's opening a new or he's building a new Tesla factory in Germany, and it's come under a little bit of fire because what's happening is he's felling a fair few acres of woodland to do it. So you've got to kind of wonder, like, you know, he's had a fair bit of criticism for it because it's displacing a load of wildlife, cutting down a load of trees, just like, right, I just want this land to build Teslas. And you've got to kind of wonder, man. I mean, I don't have much more to add to it, to be honest. He's come under, there's obvious criticism in Germany and around the world for what he's doing.
Sure.
You know, but there's also people who go, no, this is great because it means we're going to have more electric cars, you know, and they'll be close to home and what have you. It's just a weird move. Like, you'd have to really tiptoe into that if you're supposed to be an environmentally conscious company in the first place.
Yeah. Right, here's my thing on it. Can you still hear me? You all right?
Yeah, I can still. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess here's what I would say about it is, like, you can get angry at Elon for that, fine. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a business. He is, you know, he's... What he's selling is environmental, I guess, in a way. But at the end of the day, and we know he's like trying to protect the human race, go to Mars and all that sort of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
You know, it is a business. No, I bet nobody like batted an eyelid when Amazon put up their 80th one and smashed down a load of forests for that. No one probably blinked.
Yeah.
But the second they're opening like one, which arguably will help the environment to some degree, while it initially, you know, the damage is bad, but then over the years the damage is paid off. I don't really know.
Hopefully.
You know, it's hard to say, isn't it? If he needs a place to do it, and that was the bit that they sold him, aren't they at fault? I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I guess so, man. I guess so.
But yeah,
I mean,
it's a tricky one, man. I don't know. It's like when people say, "Oh, Apple are being really like environmentally friendly by not putting a charger in the box." It's like, well, that goes two ways because if they want it to be environmentally friendly, then why not switch to USB-C? So everything's USB-C rather than Lightning port.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't always agree with those sorts of things.
What we want is for you to pay marginally more because we know you're going to need to buy a charger anyway.
Yeah.
So, and eventually, you know, you'll probably pay us a bit more for it.
And we can stuff more iPhones on a pallet than we ever could, which means we can ship even more.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It goes both ways, doesn't it?
Hey, do you remember the SpaceX launch?
Yeah, that was great.
I'm just having a fond reminisce about other things from last year. That was really cool, man. When are they doing another one? Do you know?
I've no idea. Wasn't it quite recently?
Taking the guy to taking the chaps to space, up to the space station. That was a while ago. When was that? Hang on.
Was it?
Yeah, when was that?
It was a while back, actually. Now I think about it.
SpaceX man on rocket.
I must admit, I do like how, you know, while you're Googling that, I do like how Elon Musk is basically like the Willy Wonka of being a billionaire. You know, he's like just a bit eccentric, likes memes. You know, he could be really dull. He could be ultimately boring.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I'm really uninteresting. I just like making money. Where you could imagine sitting down with Elon Musk and actually having a decent conversation because he seems like there's someone behind it.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
when he's not calling you a kiddie fiddler.
Yeah, right.
November it was, by the way.
Yeah.
I really thought it was longer ago than that. Yeah. Whatever, Elon. We're done with you. Ex-patron saint. We can't touch him anymore, mate. We really can't. No. I have got an idea for a new patron saint of the podcast, but I'll tell you later in the episode.
Okay. Randy.
Is it Randy? Yeah, no, it's not Randy. Dude, this is a bit of a hard left turn, and obviously a big portion of 2020 has been you creating various different things and making, you know, and obviously with Byte Review, the channel. That's been going really well, right? But I mean, has it felt like a good year for Byte Review?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, to zoom out as such, like I left my full-time teaching job and basically went freelance, including, building YouTube into that as a big section of the pie. So I work 2 days a week with an agency in an Exeter, even though it's not really an Exeter anymore. We're just completely remote now. So that's like the guaranteed bread, that's coming in. It's only 2 days a week, so it's not loads. It's not, it's not enough to get by. So YouTube makes up the rest of it. So just poured all my time into that. But yeah, man, what I will say is it's been a good year. I've learned this year on YouTube more than any other year. I've learned so much this year compared to every other year from doing it. And really? I think that's because I finally took the time. And I think it's, also partially from just having more time to think about it, to actually investigate what's working, what's not working, be a bit more business minded about it, like decide, listen to podcasts about building brands, and, just looking at how people succeed and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I'll take forward from this year is knowing, and what you can expect to see from Byte Review in 2021 is to capitalize on what works and to cut off like a dead arm what hasn't really been working that well. But it's funny because like I built that channel. I say built the channel, around 30k subs. So it's not like it's a global conglomerate.
Yeah, sure. Man, 30,000 people. That's a lot of people, though.
So it's a lot of people I've hoodwinked into thinking it's something worth watching.
That's a super spreader event,
Yeah, but I built that channel on reviewing phones. First and foremost, it's a phone review channel. But if you look at the last 5 or 6 phone reviews I've done, they've not done well.
Okay.
They have not been like the big hitters like they once were. So, I pretty much won't be doing them this year. I've decided to not bother because they're expensive. A lot of time, unless, bless them, Vodafone have been reaching out a lot recently and that's been awesome. So if Vodafone keep giving them out, then of course I'll review them.
I'll take it. Yeah.
No, yeah, but I'm not going to do a straight up review anymore because the thing that really told me to stop doing that was I got the iPhone 12 Pro, which is like £1,000 phone. It's a lot of money to invest, but I call it invest because it does help the channel grow. It's quite an important piece of technology to look at, even though I don't really like switching phone. I think that's one of the biggest things that people get wrong. Is like, I must love switching phone. It's like, I hate switching phone. It sucks. Like if I wasn't doing, reviews and stuff, I'd probably still be on my iPhone like 10 from like 2016 because it's fine. But, I bought the iPhone 12 Pro and it was £1,000. And then I just did a straight up, here's the review of it. And obviously I can't be first because you can't meet up. You can't catch up with those big channels that have it before you. And that video only got 3,000 views, which isn't loads. It's not nothing, but it's not loads. But then I borrowed an iPhone 12 mini from Vodafone for 2 weeks. Yeah. And I didn't do a full review. I just said, this is what the battery is like, and this is what it's like to hold, because it's really small and people are concerned about the battery. Yeah. And that video ran circles around the other one. I didn't pay a penny to do it. The Vodafone gave it to me for basically as long. They're really kind. They say, 2 weeks is ideal, but if you need to keep it longer, no problem. Yeah. So, and that video ran circles around it. So I'm not gonna basically waste my time making a big video, because they're big projects. They take a long time to film. They take a long time to edit. It takes a long time to gather all your thoughts. But to gather your thoughts about little bits of it, more niche parts like the battery life or the handling, is much easier.
Yeah, so sure.
That and I've been really, I don't want to waffle on, but I've been really lucky with the iPad content. So lucky that Apple reached out and gave me one early, which was awesome. Which is what I'm using right now to record this podcast on.
It's a bit meta as well, isn't it? Are you still recording this for the channel and for the podcast at the same time?
I am at the moment. Yeah.
So this is the bit that you're recording for the video.
I'm actually not, but I could. Actually, do you know what, Ben? I'll do it.
Oh, brilliant. Are you ready, listener? This is some proper behind-the-scenes content here.
Right, it's on.
So this is the bit of the podcast that you're recording to go into the video about what you're recording.
That's right. I haven't got a microphone on the camera, so it might sound awful, but I will just say I'm recording the podcast with Ben here. Hello, Ben. Into the iPad Air with voice notes running on one side and Zoom running on the other. Split screen. It's working great with the Rode NT USB Mini. And it sound good, Ben?
It sounds great to me, mate. You always sound good, but this sounds pucker.
Yeah, Ben says it sounds pucker. I just realised you can't hear what he's saying, but I can. Anyway, it is running well. I'll stop recording that now. There you go.
Of all the things I've ever seen that are absolutely not going to make it into the final cut of a video.
Oh yeah, that's not
got to be number one.
But yeah, to go back to what I was saying, Apple would see my videos, and as a small creator, that's a big pat on the back. For a big company like that to reach out was awesome. So I'm going to, really capitalize on that. Like desk setups seem to hit really well, and iPad content seems to do really well. So I'm just kind of focus in those areas that have been working and cut off the stuff that hasn't, and hopefully it'll help growth a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, dude, from the outside, if you were interested in my opinion, it's nice. What I'm really pleased for you to see working is that because the more you do it, and the more you do it well, obviously I should put that, the more you do a good job of it, the more content you have to make exercises like looking at what's working more worthwhile and make them work. It's nice to have seen you year on year having more output of all varying success. Like you say, some videos are more successful than others, but it's nice when you get to that point that you can look back and go, oh right, I've made another year's worth of content here. I wonder what I can find out from that. And it's actually useful stuff because you put the work in to make all that content.
Yeah. Man, it's got to be a big shout, not a big shout out because that sounds weird. But Google's YouTube analytics this year they've been really good. They've upped the game considerably. So now it tells you loads more stuff, which they may have just had and just didn't give to creators. But I can see when my viewers are online now, so for the best time to upload.
Oh, really?
I can see when, as to which hour of the day is where everyone comes to watch, the peaks and troughs, and you can see where people are coming from, whether it's from the YouTube search page or if it's from external sources like Reddit or like from Instagram or from Twitter. And you can also see how they're finding your video. So what they're typing in to search for it, and what's good for it, and what's suggesting it. So looking at all that stuff with a more business, hat on, as lame as that sounds, and just being really like, okay, that works. I should say this. And also finding things out like the first 4 lines of a YouTube video description also helps with search. So
I see. Okay.
You can almost have 2 titles. You might see that in my videos actually from now that I almost have 2 titles, so that you have the title of the video, but then the first line of description is another title that I was thinking about using because it will boost the search.
Just to mop up the extra keywords.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's finding out little things like that, and just, like I say, I think when you're at my level, which is still quite small, you've really got to build that niche. And now I think I know what the niche is, and now I can really laser focus on it and just grow the audience from that niche. That's the idea for 2021.
Mate, I'm stoked for you. I'm excited to see. I sound like I'm fawning here, but I'm excited to see where you go with it. I really am.
Thanks, man. It's been good though. It's been a good year for the old BR.
Mate, I'm glad you're all over it.
Yeah.
You were asking about me doing YouTubes.
Yeah.
Not to be ashamed. I don't know what you want to know.
No. I was thinking about this. Actually, I can build the 2 questions into this. I was thinking about this on my daily walk, my daily exercise Boris walk.
Mandated exercise. Yeah.
Mandated. You must exercise. You must have the vaccine.
You come with me to the vaccine centre, Tom.
You must be home by 7. Lights out by 9. I was thinking, well, what if, just because I was thinking about everyone's free time, I was like, what would, say if there was no option, but you had to start a YouTube channel. And I was just thinking about what would all my friends do? Like, if you had like 2 weeks to make a video, what would you do? So I was going to ask you, Ben, if you had to start YouTube for some reason, what
Okay.
What do you think the area would be? What would you do? Or have you thought about it before? I feel like this sort of thing might cross your mind on the odd occasion.
It's crossed my mind on the odd occasion. I feel like I need to make a distinction. Sorry, that sounds like I'm stalling for time here, which I absolutely am.
Which I'm not.
I'm just going to tell you straight to the point. Because I feel like there'd be a difference between me doing a YouTube video on something I felt like I had stuff to say about,
right,
versus me doing a YouTube video on something I would really enjoy talking about.
Yeah. So let's run down the best possible path then. The enjoyment sort of thing.
The enjoyment path, I'd probably do like something to do with music, I would say.
Yeah.
Honestly, it would either be maybe me just, you know what, I'd maybe like just, I don't want to say music reviews, because it wouldn't even be a review. Do you know what I'd like to be? Like the David Attenborough of music, where, because this is, if you've ever had a few drinks with me at a party where there's any kind of music playing, I know I have the tendency to become utterly insufferable. I'm like, no, but just listen, wait. That bit. Oh yeah, did you hear how that comes in? So I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be so much a review, it'd be like Ben's going to tell you why he thinks this song's really good. That might be, to be honest, mate, that might actually be it, yeah.
That might be it.
Something like that, because I mean I could do videos about making music, but I feel like my own process of doing that is so scatty that it wouldn't condense well into a video.
Do you know what I actually had you pinned for?
Go on.
I was like, Ben would either do this or that. I thought a video you might do would be like how I recorded my own EP at home. That's what I first thought, like how I did the music thing.
It could be, yeah, okay.
Then I also thought Ben's Rex, a YouTube channel.
Ben's Rex.
Ben's Rex. He just talks about like, right, I've watched this. It's worth watching.
You've hit the nail on the head. You've hit the nail on the head. It's the same when I'm talking about saying why music's good. Basically, what it comes down to is I know best. I've got all these opinions. You are definitely going to want to hear them. So
mine
buckle
are
up.
better than yours.
Buckle up for the next 27 minutes while I tell you about Wonderwall. No, yeah, dude. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but I don't know that. I don't know whether I would. Maybe I would one day as like an exercise.
Yeah.
Just to do it, as an exercise doing it. But it would literally, the trouble is, it would literally be this camera that I'm talking to you through now, right? So,
That's
I'm not
right.
saying, no, mate, it's decent, but I'm talking about a massively fish-eyed video with me looking super blue because of the light off that screen there. If I cover it up, you see that difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd have to stand there with my hand like that for a while. And then I'd have to put this other hand out just for balance. And then people would start to wonder what's going on.
Awesome.
I don't know, mate. Okay, I mean, if you had to make a secondary YouTube channel, what would your second channel be? Say Byte Review is going great guns and you're making all your money off, but you're sitting on your gold play button and you're ready to go. And you're like, you know what? I fancy giving the world a secondary passion project Byte Review channel.
I've actually, often ran the thought of a second channel through my head, and I think people actually asked me about it in the only Q&A I've done. Like, what would you do? But I've flipped back and forth on this. I don't think it is something I'd do, but I would love to do like a analog photography one. So like old cameras with rolls of film, going out taking pictures. This is what it looks like. You can do this with it, you can do that with it, and just really like that sort of thing. I know it's horribly pretentious in a way, like, oh, you should shoot film because of this, because of that. But there is that kind of romance with the whole. You've only got a certain amount of shots. The camera you're using is purely mechanical. There's no like electronics in it. It's like that very methodical sort of process. But that or something video games. I really feel like I've got a lot to say about like literally game reviews. I used to read game reviews all the time. So I feel like you could tip my hat to that sort of thing.
Well,
but that's what I would do.
Mate, dude, this is all stuff we can... You never know. We could pivot to a gaming podcast.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
can you get some followers at least?
I was going to say, mate, just between me and you, can you imagine if we pivoted to a gaming podcast? Just on a very personal level, can you imagine what that would be like?
So me and Ben have been playing Starbound for the last 80 days.
The last however. And can you imagine the questions we'd have to answer to some quite close friends of ours?
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be good. And
we should actually
talk about it genuinely, do you?
Yeah. We should actually give it a shout out to Waste of Time Pod, because it's friends of ours, and they do it, and it's a really good podcast about games, and you should check it out.
It is great. Have we linked? No, we haven't linked them before, have we?
We should do. Yeah, I'll stick a link in the
show
description.
notes. A couple of good lads, including one of our favourite listeners, Randy.
Yeah, a couple of good healthy boys.
Do you know what I will say?
Talking about joysticks.
I don't want to slag either of them off, but Sam's always pretty keen for it. But Randy sometimes, God, he's miserable. He's like, yes, hello. What? Yeah, what?
If you're like one keen gamer and one who's there because he's just said he's going to.
Poor Sam's there trying to pick up the mood, and Randy's like, oh, shut up. No, I'm joking. It is a good podcast. They have a lot of fun on there. The last one they did, they talked about Christmas food more than games, though.
Fair enough.
But, fine, it was Christmas time.
Mate, kids in glass houses should not throw stones.
Exactly, mate. Right, let me before we run out of time, I want to ask you my second question, but I don't expect you to answer it now. I think you're either going to answer this like snap decision, or it will take you time. So
okay.
I'm ready for both. But if you could have one new album from one band that's currently going, so as it is, not like an old band,
not
just
like a
band,
reform special,
no reformed, but you could have one album from them, and it would be a certified banging album. Like, wow, this is one of their greats. Who would it be, and why? So, the reason I say it has to be a current band is because my first choice would be, I want a new Blink album, but with Tom in it. But you can't have that.
That's against the... Yeah, I hear you, man.
It's against the rules. So think about that.
Well, I do have a kind of answer.
Oh?
Goldfinger have just released a new album.
Yeah.
But if you could guarantee me that it was going to be an absolute banger, then I would take another Goldfinger album, because I don't like the new album as much as The Knife from a few years ago. I think 2016, I think that came out.
Really?
It's still a good album, still a really good album. But I don't know, The Knife is probably one of my favourite albums of the last 10 years, easily.
This is what's hard about the question, is because if you pick a pretty consistent band and their album's going to be good, then you're kind of wasting your wish.
It's like a see. I don't like that answer. It's maybe an honest answer, but it feels like a tactical answer. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, if there's going to be a banger, then these guys.
Fair enough.
Yeah, if it's going to be a banger, mate, I'd like to hear my fucking next album. I could tell you it was going to be a banger.
Well, because I spent a while thinking about it, I'll give you mine.
Go on.
I'd like a new Billy Talent album that lives up to 1, 2, 3.
That's a really good answer.
Because since I've liked the album since then. They've been kind of okay. There's been like some banging like singles come out, but it hasn't been like a start to finich like fucking hell, like the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I mean,
so I want a Billy Talent 4.
Okay. I'm going to just have a quick scat down through, just to see if I can get any inspiration for it. Yeah, I don't know, man, because I'd like to give you some kind of decent answer.
We can save it for next time.
Maybe it'll be a next time thing. Mull it over.
Give it the mulls.
Yeah, I will. Okay. I'm not gonna make this uninteresting now, but I think I'll have a think and I'll get back to you.
Do.
Mate, I think we're pretty much there, unless there's anything else you want to talk about. Kirokooh, going all right?
Oh, right. Very quickly. Kind of yes and no. We kind of like, things were going really well in the initial phases. And I think it's because we both had a lot of free time. Like we both, both in lockdown. Rachel had been furloughed. I had just stopped teaching and I was still getting paid, because you have to give a certain amount of notice. I got redundancy. So I had a bit of cash come that way. So, we both had a lot of time for it, and then Rachel started working again, and suddenly we both didn't have much time for it. So things really dropped off, quite badly. I'm not going to lie about it and say it was like, it was this dream brand that we both came to fruition, and things have really flown off the shelves, because they haven't. Well, they did initially in a nice spell, and the hats did quite nicely as well, which you have.
I wear mine all the time. Yeah.
There you go. But then, things really slowed down, and it's just because, it's very much a product of having this free time. That's what it was, That's how it came about. And when you don't have that free time anymore, all the efforts go elsewhere. So it was like all this residual effort that we both had, and we both managed to push it into that creative thing. But then when work started back up again, all that effort got sucked back out of it.
Well, dude,
so things really slowed up.
Not to hijack the discussion here, but I feel like that's quite a poetic description of a lot of things that happened in lockdown, isn't it? Because it's like yes, we did these things because we had so much time, but it's like it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Well,
exactly, and when me and Rich had a meeting about it recently, because not a crisis meeting by any means, but we were having that big okay, well, do we actually want to push forward a bit for 2021, because it's been, we've had ups and downs, well, not ups and downs, but it'd been on the steady, the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, is we brought these jumpers out, which we were really happy with, but we both didn't have time to take pictures of them. We were kind of rushing things a little bit, and just getting them up and getting it out and getting it done, and they didn't sell very well. And I said to Rachel, I was like, I think it didn't sell just because we didn't spend the time actually bothering with them. We got them made, we put them on the website, and there's like a couple of pictures of them, and that's it. And that is thanks to lockdown in a way. We can't meet anybody to take pictures, and it's hard. But we could have made time for it when we didn't. But the reason we didn't make time is because we were both really busy again.
Yeah. Well,
so
mate,
that's
if
where
if I can wish you anything, I mean, you don't need my luck or well wishes or anything like that to do well with it. But I hope it is something that just has a lull, and you can keep and you can keep ticking over, and maybe we'll, and maybe progress in the future, because it's really good.
Yeah. Well, we like I said, we had the meeting, we decided we're going to keep it going. We come up with a bunch of new ideas. So I think that the energy's back a little bit, definitely. But yeah, it was a weird one. Things were going just all over the place.
Good, man. Good.
But yeah, there it is.
Oh, fair enough, man. Fair enough. Yeah, so I think it's a weird one, isn't it? It's weird to think of the things that you managed to do, what you managed. And I don't mean that have now ended, but just things that you managed to start in motion the minute you've got a bit of free time, what you can get going and do a really amazing job with.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's like when I said to us, we haven't even found an hour to sit down and talk about it for weeks on end. It's not healthy, so we need to sort that out. So we've got loads of, everything's been put back in place now and all that sort of stuff, which is cool. But yeah, I think it was just a mad time for both of us.
Hey, crack on 2021.
Yeah, crack on. More stuff coming.
I think that's probably the show.
That's it, isn't it?
I think. We've already talked about some secret things that we're going to talk about on the next episode, which...
We have.
If I've got anything to say about it, we'll definitely have more to talk about on those subjects by the time that rolls around. I've got to charge up my gamepad, and then I'm on all over it. But mate, Tom, where can people find you if they want to find you online?
It's at Byte Review all over the place.
Fantastic.
How about you though, Ben? Where can they find you?
I am at benjuonlung or benjuonlung.com.
Ooh,
if you're feeling fancy.
A little plug there, I like that.
Thanks, as always, to Tony Thaxton for our theme. Thank you all for listening this far. If you've got this far, man, pop a like, leave a sub, leave a like, pop a sub, hit that bell.
Sub.
You're probably not listening to this on YouTube.
And Dave, Randy, Dave, Jared, and anybody else that has come over from seeing a bit of Byte Review content, because I think there are some listeners from there.
Well, and we're glad to have them. I think this is, I don't normally say this, but this is a hard call to action. Leave a comment. Tell us what you're hoping for from 2021. Do it.
What do you want to hear us talk about?
Do it now.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Do it.
Please.
Right
please.
now. We'll wait. Okay.
We've got time.
Open up the browser. Yeah. We've got all the time in the world. We're in lockdown. We can wait.
We'll be here all day.
That's right, David. I know you've already left a review, but if you could just make a new account, just Ravid Runtley, and then just write the similar thing again, maybe with some different sentiments, that would be great.
Thank you all for listening. We appreciate it. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy New Year. Bye.
Bye.